Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 2008 graduation ceremony for the Jefferson Adult Learning Center and Port Huron South. My name is Gloria Henry, and I am the principal at Jefferson Adult Learning Center. I will be tonight's mistress of ceremonies. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would please stand as our graduates enter and find their place on the stage. Also, please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance after the students have arrived on the stage. Gentlemen, if you could please remove your hats. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Welcome again to all of you. Here we are at the end of another successful school year. Up on the stage this evening are 38 men and women who have accomplished a great thing. All right. Tonight, they will be receiving either their high school diploma or their GED. In addition to those here on the stage, there are another 36 individuals who, for one reason or another, decided not to march this evening, but they too will receive a high school diploma or a GED tonight after our ceremony. You will also hear from two of our students up on the stage here tonight, because it's our practice to have our graduates stand up and tell their stories. We are honored this evening to have our opening comments from our superintendent, Mr. Thomas B. Shorkey. Mr. Shorkey came to our district August 23rd, 2006, and I think that everyone in the district is happy with this choice. I would like to introduce to all of you a remarkable speaker who knows how to run a district, Mr. Thomas B. Shorkey.
You have to be careful with those introductions, because when they tell you somebody's a good speaker, it was like that trainer we heard on Saturday about what a great horse he had in Big Brown, and he was automatically going to win, and he finished in last place. I'll try not to do that tonight. On behalf of the Board of Education, 5 members of which are with us tonight, and because they're kind of tucked in the back, we're going to ask them to stand as I introduce them. From the back, Trustee Garth Krewall, Trustee Barbara Daniels, Treasurer Jeff Herring, Secretary Patty Bayless, and Board President Jeff Stout. Thank you. Also with us on stage tonight, seated to my left, is Ron Moline, former principal at Port Huron High School, has served as the assistant superintendent for the school district for the past 2 years. What I'd like to, few remarks tonight, and we all know it in this audience. This graduation ceremony is different than the other ones we had last week. This is different because everybody's sitting up here in green and white. You're going to hear a couple stories tonight, but if we have 43 people, we have 43 stories of something that kind of went off track a little bit, and then they got back on through our Jefferson or through Port Huron South. Each one of these people kind of pulled themselves up from a little set of circumstances that maybe many others would have failed from. And so I commend you, our graduates, for doing that, and also for the significant others in the audience who were there for support when these young people needed it. I want them to... We'll have one more history lesson before we leave tonight, students. And the history lesson is this. We all know 1492, Christopher Columbus, the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria, boats about 100 feet long that came from Europe, looking for something else, bumped into North America, and here we are. But what we don't often know is 87 years before that, a bigger explorer from China by the name Zheng was starting out on explorations, and it was in 1405. And what the Chinese did at that time, he had 300 boats, not 3. He had some boats that were put together that were called treasure ships, which were 400 feet long at that time, various sizes in the fleet, but he had some 9-masted, 400-foot boats. And they set out from China, and they were exploring the Indian Ocean and down towards the tip of Australia. And for about 30 years, they just found all kinds of treasures that they brought back, and it was during the Ming Dynasty, and they brought giraffes back for the zoo and zebras back, untold flowers, fruits, vegetables from that part of the world. After 30 years, a new dynasty started in China, and they said, well, we've discovered everything there is to discover, burn the boats. We don't need to go anymore. And what they did for that dax from about 1430 to actually into the 17th century, there was no exploration. The boats were burned. It was against the law to have any ship with more than 2 masts on it. And the reason I bring this history lesson to you is you've got your 400-foot boat now. You've left port. What you can't do now, after everything you've come through to get where you are tonight, as you can't say, like so many of those early Chinese did, and say, well, that's all there is, I'm done now. Because you're not done. But what you did, you showed yourself that you can do it, and you can get to a goal. And now, in this big world that we live in, high school diploma or GED is just a start. It used to be something you had to have. You have to have it now, plus more. So there's more training, maybe it's junior college, maybe it's over at Baker. But if you're really going to keep on rolling, you've got to do more than just finish off tonight and say, well, I did it, and that's the end of it. There's a lot more challenges out there. But in some ways, I think the people on the stage tonight have a better shot at success, maybe, than the 600 or so that we graduated from our 2 high schools last week, because these folks sitting on the stage tonight have tasted a little bit about things that could go wrong in your life, or some adversity, or there were some logs in the road that either had to be stepped over or pulled away. And so that to get here tonight is a significant accomplishment, but it isn't going to be your only one. And you're going to stop back in a few years and maybe come back, and we thought about doing this with our adult education graduation, is have somebody come back 4, 5, 6 years later and say, you know what, I made some bad choices early on. I got fortunate to come through the program that I did, and now here I am at age 25 or 30 or 35, and this is what I'm doing. So we wish you the best. That Board of Ed over there is as proud of you as any other graduates we've had this year. Ron Moline and I are very supportive of you. I think Gloria's done an excellent job. Ed Peltz is with us in thought, in prayer tonight. As we all know, Mr. Peltz has had some serious illness this spring. He's hoping to be back in action in the next few weeks, but a lot of the success of our students that have gone through Port Huron South is because of the leadership of Mr. Peltz. So on behalf of the board and the administration, congratulations for a great job tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shorkey. I did want to mention, as Mr. Shorkey did, that I know in spirit Mr. Peltz is with us this evening. He was unable to come here this evening, but I know that he is with us in spirit, and he will continue to get better and is continuing to get better. The next part of our ceremony this evening is one of the most exciting parts, the introduction of our speakers and their speeches. We have 2 individuals speaking this evening, and I'm going to begin this evening's introduction by starting with Miss Jeannie Ann Escabel. Jeannie is 23 years old. She was born and raised in Port Huron. She attended both Port Huron and Port Huron Northern high schools. When she was in the 12th grade, Jeannie dropped out of school due to personal reasons. She became pregnant a few months later and delivered her twin boys on January 30th, 2004. She decided to be a stay-at-home mom for the next 5 years and raise her sons. When her children began to attend school part-time, she began taking classes at Jefferson part-time to receive her GED. Jeannie is planning on going to Great Lakes Hair Academy, where she would like to pursue a career in cosmetology. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeannie Escabel.
Good evening. It's an honor to be here tonight. My name is Jeannie Escabel, and I've attended Jefferson since the fall of 2007. If it wasn't for Jefferson, I don't think I would be standing up here tonight. I thought it would be difficult to go back to school because I hadn't been in school for over 5 years, but it has been much easier than I anticipated. Some of the benefits at Jefferson are the smaller classes and more individualized attention we need from our teachers. I like the fact that each individual can work at their own pace and all the classwork is done in class. The teachers are also very helpful and understanding. I also like the fact that my schedule was very flexible so that I could balance both school and home. I feel that coming back and receiving my GED is setting a good example for my children. I plan to attend Great Lakes Hair Academy this fall to pursue a career as a cosmetologist. I would like to say to anyone that doesn't have a GED or high school diploma to go to Jefferson because it's a great place to get your education. I would like to thank God, my mother, my family, and everyone for supporting and encouraging me, and my teachers, Ms. Roski and Mr. Ross. Thank you.
Our next speaker is a gentleman by the name of Mr. Salvador Plasencia. It was a Sunday morning on February 21st when Salvador's mother was rushed to the hospital. She wasn't sick or injured, although she may have been in pain. She was in labor, and at 8:25 in the morning, Salvador was born into a family as the youngest of 3 children and the only boy. Growing up, Salvador always wanted to be a scientist of some sort, from a paleontologist to an oceanographer, all the way to a medical doctor. But in school, from kindergarten to the end of 8th grade, he was always slacking off. Salvador would do the work he felt like doing, skip school, and get himself suspended. When he was 13, Salvador got caught stealing and was placed on probation. Because he never really cared much to begin with, Salvador constantly violated probation through truancies and failed drug tests. After plenty of warnings and chances, Salvador was sent to Boys Town in Nebraska. Boys Town, however, was nothing like a jail. It was instead a place where Salvador could see what he was capable of. He spent his first 2 years of high school there, where he earned a cumulative grade point average of 3.98 with almost all A's and a few B's. Until then, Salvador never thought he was capable of doing well in school. He never thought he was intelligent and never thought he could do anything. But all that changed. He learned more in Boys Town than in all the years before. Actually, it was there that Salvador realized what he wanted to do with his life, to become an airline pilot. At the end of his sophomore year, he came back home. Again, he started messing up. As the summer passed, he fell back into bad habits. School started. He did okay the first semester, but continually fell short of his capabilities. After that, it was a blur of skipping school and partying until eventually it was just partying. He dropped out of school 4 times in the next 3 years. His family and friends would get him back in school, but he just didn't see a future for himself and just didn't care. Then, about a year ago, something happened. Salvador began to see that he had a future, and that the world was not just pain, sorrow, hate, fear, and suffering. He realized life was what he made of it, and he needed to move on and grow up. He needed to carve his own path and see where it took him. He enrolled in Jefferson, gave himself no choice but to finish, and this evening is proving to all those people who thought he wouldn't finish that they were wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, Salvador Plasencia.
You made it, Salvador.
When I decided to go to Jefferson to earn my high school diploma, I gave myself one option. Only one outcome that going to school should result in: graduation. Too many times have I began something and gave up, lost interest, or just didn't care. I admit I was somewhat reluctant to enroll. I was scared. I was afraid that once again I would fail by giving up. But things were different. I was different. Maybe I was finally growing up, seeing for what seemed like the first time that I alone could determine my future. Destiny, fate, they're no more than ideas, reasons people give themselves to justify what they've done to put them where they are at now, and where they will go. No, life is about choices. It is the choices we make that determine where we go in life. I could have chosen to keep doing the same old thing, nothing. But like I said, I was different. I got tired of watching the days pass with nothing to show for myself, nothing accomplished. It was a time for a change. I couldn't let my life sit and idle while the world passed me by. So I took the dive and enrolled with a determination I've never felt before. I had arranged to live with my sister. Her house being only a few blocks away from Jefferson seemed convenient, whereas my parents lived over 30 miles away. I had no car, and my parents couldn't drive me back and forth to Port Huron every day. So my sister's it was. I think she didn't expect for me to be staying at her house very long. I can't blame her. I've dropped out of school so many times before then that maybe I was the only one who knew I wasn't going to quit. As the weeks passed, I became more determined and less welcome. My sister already had 3 children, a full-time job, bills, a boyfriend. The last thing she needed was me living there at her house. But she still put up with me. I believe that if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be standing here today. Angela, I thank you for tolerating me as long as you did. I couldn't have done this without your help. And to my parents, thanks for being so patient with me. You helped make me the man I am today. I would also like to thank my teachers. Miss Nielsen, sorry for falling asleep in your class so much. Reading in the afternoon always made me drowsy. Thank you for your tolerance. And Mrs. Hof, science has always been my favorite subject, and rock and roll my favorite music. Thank you for a comfortable and productive atmosphere. Mrs. Jameson, I was in your class most of all, at one point, all 6 hours. I always liked the fact of the day and your extensive knowledge. Thank you for teaching me something new every day. And last but definitely not least, Mrs. Roberts, your class was always the most difficult. I was constantly challenged and sometimes even stuck. Mathematics has always been a weak point of mine. Thank you for all the help and encouragement. Your class always went by the fastest. I thank all the staff as well for their hard work. Miss Henry, you're the coolest principal I've ever had. Thank you. And Miss Mary Thayer, you always had breakfast and lunch ready, and you were usually the one that helped me with my scheduling. Thank you. As we look to the future, only one thing remains certain. We'll never be here again. Congratulations, class of 2008.
Those are two hard acts to follow. Congratulations to both of you again. At this time in the program, it's my honor to award a scholarship. And the student doesn't know that they are getting a scholarship tonight. They just know that a scholarship will be awarded. The scholarship is being awarded by the Great Lakes Academy of Hair Design and is valued at $1,000. It will be given this evening to an individual who will be furthering their education in the field of cosmetology. When I call your name, please come forward to accept this gift. On behalf of the Great Lakes Academy of Hair Design and placement leader Jessica Proctor, I'm proud to present the scholarship this evening to Miss Jeannie Escabel. Jeannie, please step forward. This was a new scholarship for us this year. Great Lakes Academy of Hair Design came to our building twice, once for a career day that we had, and then once this year they actually came with a group of their students and worked with, with our students doing hair, talking about the program. So it was really nice that they did become involved in our adult ed program, and I'm hoping that they will continue to do so as well. This is my 7th year as principal at Jefferson Adult Learning Center, and it just doesn't get any better than to stand on the stage every June. By 9 o'clock this evening, a total of 74 individuals will have accomplished a significant goal in their lives. Getting to Jefferson, or Port Huron South, was sometimes a perilous road for some of our students, but what helped many was the staff at Port Huron South and Jefferson. There are some significant changes coming about this school year, the 2008-09 school year, for Port Huron South and Jefferson. Port Huron South will be closing their doors as an alternative high school, and Jefferson will no longer be located at our center on 10th Avenue. Our adult education facility is picking up our program and moving to the Port Huron South facility located on Electric Avenue. Our name will also be changing from Jefferson Adult Learning Center to Grant Educational Center. Change can be a little disconcerting for all concerned, but I want to let any future students who may be out there thinking that they may want to return to school to finish their high school diploma or work at getting a GED and end up on our stage next year or in the years following, that a change in location is all that will be happening to our adult education program. We'll still be offering high school and GED classes, and our hours of operation will remain the same. We will still have a staff who is dedicated to waking up every morning and coming to tackle another day of work that they so dearly love. These are individuals who work on a daily basis with students, from instructing to advising to mentoring to serving the breakfasts and lunches. Some new faces will be seen in the staff along with the old, and I think everyone will be pleased with the new additions to the staff. Thanks to everyone for making this last graduation at Port Huron South and Jefferson Adult Learning Center a wonderful time, and here's to many more graduations at the Grant Educational Center. Thank you. It's now my extreme pleasure to begin introducing each graduate so they may receive their diploma. Handing out diplomas this evening and congratulating each of our recipients will be the board members that were introduced earlier. And so we begin. Dusty Eagle. Jeannie Escabel. Don Miles. Amanda Nisley. Amy Lynn Wickings. Lori Fraley. Megan Marie Matthews. Brandy LaPlante. Caitlin Petty. Haley Simone Gottschalk. Rebecca Stotka. Megan Miller. Roxanne McCracken. Cassandra Mitchell. Tabitha Johnson. Katie Wolford. Christina Marie Roski. Salvador Plasencia. Stephanie Pence. Stephen Dean. Matthew Tuthill. Timothy J. Buzzard. Chad Reese. Thomas Olvera Jr. Scott Ingalls. Blair Kenny. Michael Steckling. Ronald Burley. Dakota Essenmacher. Matthew Deachin. Ryan Griffin. Ray Gonzalez. Vincent Hoover. And Billy McGill III. Thank you, board members, for the presentation of the diplomas. Students, would you please switch your tassels? Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you the 2008 graduates from Port Huron South and Jefferson Adult Learning Center. Start the recessional, please. Students stand. Ladies and gentlemen, the students will be out in the lobby, and diplomas will be out there as well. Thank you for the evening.